We have to win. If we lose this game, it could be a domino effect. We should be handling these boys. We're playing at home. Expect a victory. Expect hat-tricks. I expect Saka to actually turn up. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another segment. And we're taking off from our first leg against Bayer Leverkusen, where it was a 1-1 draw. Late penalty, picked up by Madueke and put to bed. What are my feelings? They're a bit mixed. Do I have faith in this Arsenal team to beat Bayer Leverkusen? Of course I do. Because Bayer Leverkusen, as impressive they have been, considering all the roller coasters they've been through this season, I feel like Arsenal are just too strong. And I think the most beneficial part of this whole campaign up to this point was we were playing away first. I don't know how the script would go if we had to play away this time round and we left the Emirates with a 1-1 draw. But I think Arsenal at home, I think we're going to absolutely dismantle Bayer Leverkusen. And we're going to go through the team sheet and the scoreline. Now, the reason why I've got high hopes isn't out of pure luck. It's simply because of the performance we put against Everton. The game against Everton, it wasn't the prettiest. We did look like we were about to concede. But here's the thing. Here's the positive things you need to remember this. We walked away from the Everton game with a clean sheet. We saw some terrific defending. We saw Calafiori make a scorpion dive block that even Paolo Maldini and Nesta would have been proud of. Arsenal also managed to bag themselves 2 goals and got a debut goal for our boy Max Darman. And I think that statement by Max Darman is letting Arteta know, listen mate, I feel I've got to play more often because right now I came on and I'm a game changer. Champions League, it's the knockout stages. Every single game is a must win. The table's out the window. We've gone and done that. We've finished first. But Arsenal need to screw their heads on for this second fixture. And I think the only thing that'll be holding them back, and one thing that I've realised from that Everton game was Arsenal actually started some players that were well rested. Especially in the attack. With Kai Havertz, Madueke, Saka, he came off midway through the Leverkusen game. So he had a bit of rest. But they're just a different flair up front. And I think that's what Arteta needs to start doing is the players that are fatigued, just give them a break, mate. Throw them a little Kit Kat. They'll be all right for a match or two. In the Leverkusen game, Arsenal looked very tired, I'll be honest. And I think that's why it became such a hard game and why it's very frustrating. And the way you can tell that they're tired is because of passes. Saka's not his old self. But we saw it against Everton, taking on players. But in Leverkusen, he just weren't on it. Now, Leverkusen could set up really well. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that Leverkusen are a great team. I do like Leverkusen. Back in the day, early 2000s, they reached the final against Real Madrid. For some of you that don't know, with that crispy volley by Zidane. And Leverkusen have obviously have produced some great players. We've taken Hikape off them. We've got Havertz, who used to play for Bayer Leverkusen. They produce some good talent. My point is that I think the fatigue is a big factor for this Arsenal team. And you have to look at the end of the season. We're basically at the end. After April, we're more or less done. And I think we've got like 7 games left in the Premier League. Like, we're literally crunch time. This is the area where players do get tired. It's where fatigue does come in. Especially players that play week in, week out. And we're still being consistent. And I think that's the most important thing, that we're being consistent compared to any other season. And that's why a lot of people are writing us as the Premier League champions already. Even though it's not all said and done. Arteta, rotation, everything that he did in that Everton game was perfect. Spot on. Because the subs made the most impact. 2 subs scored. Gyökeres, Max Darman. They came on at the right time. And I think the players that started, fresh legs. And fresh legs is sometimes all you need to revamp a game. These subs come on, they're full of energy, and that's what you need to inject into that front line sometimes. Energy. Am I worried about the backline? Not really. I know we've had a little bit of a knock with Timber. I don't think he'll play in the Bayer Leverkusen game. And when I announce my team in a minute, that'll be playing them. But Timber, he needed a break as well. You know, he's running up and down, overlapping. And then you have Benny on the bench. Will Benny start? I don't know. But I want Benny to start. Mosquero's had a lot of game time, but I don't want Ben White to be left in the dark because every time Ben White's played, he's been phenomenal. I'd still say it to this day. Ben White's overlapping with Saka is better than Timber's. I'm taking away nothing from Timber. Timber's sick. Best right back in the Premier League in my opinion. But certain things, Ben White does outdo him. What is the worst case scenario if we lose this game? I'll tell you what the worst case scenario is. I'm going to be vexed. You're going to be vexed. And the pundits and all these Tottenham fans and Man United fans are going to be loving it. So we can't let them have this one. We can't give them a free one. We need to make sure we turn up when we play them. And I think, as well, playing at home, there is no excuses. We have a solid squad. Our squad outdoes Bayer Leverkusen in all areas. There's not one player in the Bayer Leverkusen team which I think is better than any Arsenal player on the starting 11. And the one that I did think was better is actually playing for us right now. It's definitely a must-win. You know, you reach this final Champions League. Last season as well, you have to compare it. We had a weaker squad and we reached the semi-finals. And I feel like our schedule last year was way harder. Way harder. This year, it was decent, but I felt like, you know, we played probably 3 sick teams. Bayern Munich, Atletico, Inter Milan. And Atletico aren't the best right now. Inter Milan, the top of their league, I get it, but I don't think they're the best compared to when they had Inzaghi. And Bayern Munich, that was a statement win, of course. And you have to think about what happens if Arsenal move forward. So if Arsenal move forward, obviously we have either... it's looking like Bodo Glimt right now because they're 3-0 in aggregate over Sporting Lisbon. We don't know. It's football. It can change. Sporting Lisbon might do a miraculous comeback, 4-3, 5-3. But we have an easy path slightly to the final. And I think once we move past Bodo Glimt, if we do get past them, if we beat Leverkusen, of course, we've got Barcelona, we've got Atletico. We've dealt with Atletico already. And I'm sure we can definitely beat Barcelona. So this victory can mean a whole lot. This is like the stepping stone to achieving more. People have got to stand for the quadruple. Am I that ambitious? I'm starting to believe right now, I'll be honest. If we won the Prem, if the season ended today, I'd be content. But why not challenge for the quadruple? What's stopping us? Only ourselves. And that's it. But I just don't want Mikel Arteta to be ignorant. I want him to make changes at the right time. And I want him to set out a team that can make an impact. Not just by names. And think about what subs are more impactful in the game. Gyökeres, as a sub, I think he was terrific yesterday. Scoring a goal. He didn't get many touches, but he was running in. Yeah? He was there at the right moment. And sometimes that's all you need. Just great positioning. Thomas Muller, he don't make no runs. But you know what? His attacking positioning, sublime. Yeah, he's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. He's not the most agile. But this guy, he's in the right place at the right time. That's why he's one of the best German strikers ever. So I'm not saying Gyökeres can become Thomas Muller. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you might not have a touch in a game for 10, 15 minutes. But when you pop up in the right time, you can get your goal, mate. Because, like I was saying yesterday, he didn't have no touch throughout the whole of the Everton game, Gyökeres, until he got his goal. And that's what matters. Your first touch is your goal. Or your second or third touch is your goal. For the amount of time you've been on. That's all you need. And Max Darman, impactful as well. Would I like to see Max Darman play in the Leverkusen game? Of course. I do feel like he's more impactful as a sub. Obviously because of age, maturity. You know, he's still a young kid. Still got a lot of learning to do. And I think him coming on as a sub, you know, is helping him learn. And I feel like Arsenal need to take their time with him. Don't rush. Don't rush his development. Let him grow. Like, not everyone's going to be a Lamar. And I think that's like the silliest thing I think clubs can do is when they have a young talent, is immediately try to rush his development, throw him in the deep end because they think they got another Lamar on his hands. But Lamar's like a generational talent. You don't get Lamar every single year. You probably get him every 10 years, 12 years. So that's what I want Arsenal to do. But yeah, let's talk about the team sheet. Let me not hold you lot up. Team sheet. Let's go for goalkeeper, David Raya. Going to go with the same back four that started against Everton. But obviously Timber, we don't know. So I'm going to say worst case scenario, Timber's out. I think Arteta's going to start Mosquera. So Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. Central midfielders, I think we know where we're going with this one, mate. Bit of Rice, bit of Zubimendi. Number 10, I feel like Eze, do you know what? He didn't score, but he was shooting a lot. He was doing something. He was trying his best. So I'm going to cut him some slack this game. So I'm going to chuck him in as well. Yeah, but I said the same lineup as Everton. On the right, I think Saka, if not Madueke, on the right. On the left, I feel like if Saka starts on the right, Madueke is going to be on the left. But if Madueke was to start on the right, then I want Martinelli on the left. And then up front, I do want to see Kai Havertz. Again. Just to see what happens. If we get an early goal, great. Then you control the game. But the most important thing is going in there and coming out with the victory. What do I predict the scoreline to be? That's a tricky one. Now, obviously it's 1-1. We're drawing at the moment. I think the scoreline is going to be... I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal. 2-0 Arsenal. I think that's a fair one. 2-0 Arsenal. We should be able to smash them up. 2-0. Who are my goal scorers going to be? You know, this is a tricky part of the video, deciding the goal scorers. Let's go with a little cheeky Madueke, because he's been firing. And you know what? I'm going to throw Martinelli in. Let's not forget his consistency in the champs. So Martinelli and Madueke. There you go. But yeah, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. All that good stuff. And let me know what you think will go down when we play Leverkusen for our eliminator. Till next time.